I've been using this iPhone 12. It's my favorite iPhone ever, mostly because of this design. Now I'm gonna do a separate video on the Pro, but let's just start with the 12. I love this super flat design. It's not the typical almost flat where the screen is flat right up to the edges and then it curves over the very edge and they call it 2.5D. No, this is flat. The phone happens to be a little bit thinner and a little bit lighter than last year, but the square sides are actually the most efficient way to pack in those internals into the phone as efficiently as possible. It looks and feels super premium and modern. This kind of red version, after seeing it in person, I'd go for either the blue or the black, but those aluminum rails are more grippable. The buttons are clicky. The power button is a little bit bigger. It's still IP68 water resistant. You've got your 5G antenna cutout on the right-hand side in some regions. I just like holding this phone. Now, if you put a case on it, you'll notice it less, obviously. But even some cases are flattening out their dimensions for the iPhone 12, so that will make it easier to grip. All these new iPhones come with something new called ceramic shield. This specialty hardened kind of glass with crystal structure inside it over the screen, and it's supposed to offer 4 times better drop protection, shatter protection, basically. But I typically care just as much, if not more, about scratch resistance, all the little micro scratches that your phone gathers over time. The thing about scratch resistance is it's typically inversely proportional to shatter resistance. The softer something is, the less likely it is to shatter, but then the easier it is to scratch it, and vice versa. So I see the headline of better drop protection, and that's great. All I know is I already have a little gash in my screen on the left-hand side here, which that's probably at a level 6. Use a case if you want to, use a screen protector if you really want to. Possibly the biggest external hardware feature of the new iPhones is MagSafe, the optional new magnetic charging accessory standard right behind the Apple logo. The #1 MagSafe accessory that Apple sells is the Puck charger, $40. It doesn't come with a brick, so if you buy the charger, make sure you have a USB-C charging brick. This charges at 15 watts, while every other wireless charger on the iPhone still charges at 7.5 watts. It is still Qi charging, so you can still charge the iPhone 12 with other wireless chargers, and you can charge other phones with the MagSafe Puck. The durability concern with MagSafe leaving marks on the iPhone, I don't think it'll turn out to be a long-term problem. It just seems to wipe off every time. I hope Apple's probably tested this and probably determined that it's not an issue. So you can MagSafe charge through most non-MagSafe cases as long as they're thin enough. Channel sponsor Dbrand sent over a grip case, and I can confirm it's thin enough to work just fine with a MagSafe charger. I'll leave a link to this case below. I said it was optional, but I feel like we can all sort of see where this is going, which is Apple is slowly moving towards eventually making a portless iPhone. The couple of accessories they've made for it so far, not bad. There's a regular case, of course, so you can continue to stack things through. There's a clear version of the case. There's a wallet that doesn't have very strong magnets. It's not so peculiar that the one accessory they chose to make outside of the case is a wallet. So Apple wants to get rid of the port on the iPhone at a certain point. They already see ahead of time people who use wallet cases can't wireless charge their iPhone. So Apple needs to invent a way for people who use wallet cases to continue to charge their phone. They invent an accessory which is a removable wallet bit, so you can charge the phone, and when you don't need to charge it, you can put the wallet back on. But today, optional. Battery life on these phones has actually been good, but not noticeably better than last year. It's actually a higher res display and actually a smaller physical battery. You can kill it with 6 hours of screen on time. This isn't new. If you want a real battery champ, you can go for the bigger phone. The best new piece of the iPhone 12, though, is definitely the new display. It goes from being that 720p LCD with bigger bezels to this much better and even bigger 6.1-inch 1080p OLED. It's like night and day. It's 60 hertz again. They probably saw that as a battery saving measure since this phone did also just get 5G. 5G in 2020 has its ups and its downs. This iPhone 12 I'm using here has Verizon 5G. It's not millimeter wave, it's not ultra wideband, but it can still give me roughly 20% faster download and upload speeds. But the more time you spend on 5G, the more battery you bleed through. Their solution is called Smart Data Mode, and it tries to only use 5G when you actually need it to save battery. So when you're in a 4G area, you're on 4G speeds, everything works with LTE. When you're in a 5G area, and you're doing a lot of bandwidth intensive stuff, that's gonna use 5G, and that's going to improve that experience a lot. But if you are in a 5G area, but not really doing anything that benefits from 5G, then your phone will actually switch off and stick with 4G. Don't buy this phone now because you want to get a 5G phone. But if you do get this phone now, then maybe it'll be a nice bonus if you're in a 5G area. iPhone 12's got a slightly updated dual camera system with a standard and an ultra wide. The standard has a slightly wider aperture at f1.6 instead of f1.8. It's not really much of a difference in the camera, but they will get you an improvement in the most difficult photo and video taking scenarios. So like handheld in low light, night mode, autofocus on fast moving subjects, super high dynamic range shots like shooting straight into the sun thanks to Smart HDR3, stuff like that. It still looks like iPhone photos, which is to say some of the absolute best and most consistent crisp photos on any smartphone. Yeah, the iPhone takes great video. These new iPhones are the first cameras, the only cameras in the world to shoot 10-bit high dynamic range Dolby Vision 4K video. So you can look at the display, the video you take on the iPhone, and it's Dolby Vision certified, and it looks amazing. And if you send this video to another iPhone 12, it'll look amazing on that iPhone. But as soon as you upload it to Twitter or Instagram or TikTok, even YouTube, it doesn't show up as that HDR on most people's screens. It's back to SDR. It does seem like there's more flaring in low light video, like just a ton of little orbs for every little point light source. Anyway, the rest of the iPhone is pretty familiar. There is the new A14 Bionic inside, which is one of the very first 5nm chips in any device, which is a more powerful CPU and GPU and is paired with 4 gigs of RAM.